I refuse to believe that everyone cannot implement these 7 micro habits and transform their health this year. And I promise in this video, I am not giving you the drink more water and eat more vegetables advice, because we all know by now that we should be doing that. And what even is a micro habit, I hear you ask? Well, they are quick and easy actions that you can implement right after you watch this video. And by the end of these 10 minutes, you will realize the one thing they all have in common, because it is glaringly obvious what links all of these habits together. Now, if we haven't met before, I'm Maria and I'm a registered dietitian. Welcome to the channel. Wellness habit number 1. As a dietitian, I cannot stand the amount of misinformation about your health and your body, and how being healthy has become so much more confusing and expensive than it needs to be, especially when it comes to your gut health. Gut health has without doubt been the money-making marketing term of 2024, and I predict it's probably going to continue, if not get worse, into 2025. But let me tell you, the best thing that you can do for your gut health is not to go outside and buy an expensive supplement, or sip on kombucha every day that you maybe can't afford. The simple, one well-evidenced way to improve your gut health is by eating 30 different plants a week. Now, 30 plants a week, it might sound like a lot, but it is actually a little easier than you may think. Plants doesn't just mean vegetables. It includes things like fruits, beans, whole grains like your whole grain toast, your seeds, and even your spices like cinnamon on your porridge in the morning. However, buying a wide variety of fruits and vegetables can be expensive, and it can also lead to a huge amount of food waste if you don't manage to consume it all. So all I need you to do is make one swap on your regular grocery shop, because I am going to guess that if you do a grocery shop, you buy something along the lines of a bag of spinach every week, or a bag of frozen blueberries, or a bag of peanuts. Now, all I want you to do is the next time that you go to the grocery store, instead of buying a bag of spinach, you buy a bag of mixed leaves. Instead of buying a bag of frozen raspberries, you buy a bag of mixed berries. Instead of buying peanuts, you buy mixed nuts. You are automatically going from 3 to 12 at the very least. And there are so many different ways you can incorporate this change. And I'm going to add a bonus one to this one here. I want you to have a diversity jar. The diversity jar is a simple solution. It's simply a mixture of foods that have a long shelf life and are quite neutral in flavor. And they can be then added to lots of different meals and snacks. So for example, in mine, I usually have a mix of linseeds, pumpkin seeds, maybe some sliced almonds and some chopped walnuts. And then I can literally add a tablespoon of this to my yogurt or my porridge in the morning, or I can sprinkle it over a salad for a crunch or over some toast. There are so many different ways that I can incorporate it into my diet. And this will contribute to a healthier gut microbiome, improving digestion, improving immune function, and even your mental health. And I have a whole video coming out soon about everything you need to know about your gut health. So if you're interested in that topic, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Now, wellness habit number 2 is, I would say, the easiest one out of all of these. And that is to eat sitting down, not standing up. Come on, that's pretty easy. And there are a few reasons for this one. Firstly, it's easy to grab a snack while staring into the fridge, especially when you're busy. But eating while you're seated allows you to be more mindful of what you are eating. This means you avoid overeating and you avoid mindless grazing, a pattern that many of us fall into. And it's often the calories that we consume when we are grazing or we're mindlessly snacking. These are the ones that stop us from actually reaching our goals. Secondly, when you sit down to eat, your body is more likely to enter rest and digest mode. And this is where the parasympathetic nervous system switches on. And this helps regulate digestion and helps keep you calm. On the other hand, when you're standing up, your body is more likely to activate the sympathetic nervous system. And this is linked to the fight or flight response and increased stress levels. So sitting down will help with your digestion and reduce the likelihood of you getting bloated. And also, if you're calmer when you sit down to eat, you're less likely to overeat or eat out of stress. So sit yourself down and don't be grabbing snacks while you're running out the door. Now I'm going to pause here and ask that if you're enjoying the video so far, I would really appreciate it if you hit that red subscribe button below, because it really does help support my channel. And if you're looking for healthy, high protein recipe ideas, I would recommend following me over on Instagram. And wellness habit number 3, this one is probably my favorite one. And it's as simple as drink your coffee in the morning. Yes, drink your coffee at whatever time feels best for you. There is no need to stress about cortisol spikes or whether the coffee is bad for you. Coffee unfortunately got a really bad rap in 2024, but it is one of life's pleasures and I just want to tell you to enjoy it and don't give it a second thought. Unfortunately, most influencers online this past 12 months have been trying to convince you that all your problems in life are due to cortisol imbalances. And most of the time, your cortisol fluctuations are happening for good reason. And they're not something that most people need to worry about. And there was a recent study, I will link it here, that debunks all of these TikTok coffee myths. And in fact, if you are in the habit of having coffee every morning, the evidence actually shows that the cortisol response gets smaller over time. And it may not even happen at all in people who are used to drinking caffeine, like 300 milligrams a day or more. So enjoy your coffee and relax. The only time I would advocate away from drinking coffee is if you struggle with anxiety, if it's a trigger for you when you have IBS, if you are trying to get pregnant, or if you're pregnant, or if you're having coffee as a meal. Coffee is not a meal, so don't do that. Now, wellness habit number 4 might be a little bit harder for some people. And that is to give your body a 12-hour break or fast, if you want to call it that, every single night. Well, like most nights. And this comes from a brand new study published in November 2024. And it reinforced a lot about meal timing and fasting, something that people have been talking a lot about this year. So to clarify, I just want to say you don't need to start intermittent fasting and you don't need to embark on extreme fasting windows. But giving your body a 12-hour break can be useful, in particular if you're trying to manage your weight. So practically, if you have dinner at 7 p.m, you should try not to have breakfast the next day until 7 a.m. or later. Why? Well, it just gives your body some time to reset. And every time that you eat, you trigger your digestive system. And remember those gut microbiomes that I spoke about earlier? Well, they need sleep. They work on a circadian rhythm just like we do. And every time you eat, you're giving them work to do to digest the food you've just eaten. So giving them a break to get a proper night's sleep every night too is a good idea. And you will likely feel so much better in terms of bloating too. So if you find that you snack or graze on the couch until 10 p.m. at night and then you're up early the next day for work at 6 a.m. and having a super early breakfast, you want to either push one of them forward or back. And similarly, instead of snacking or grazing all day long, it's better to have regular balanced meals that keep you satisfied and feeling full. Now you can still snack. Snacking is not bad, but I do always find that my clients that prioritize sitting down and having proper meals do much better than the people who graze or snack every day. The quality of the diet tends to be just so much better. Now, wellness habit number 5 is not directly related to nutrition, but is to review your spending every month because your financial health is important too. So I have made it a habit to schedule a monthly money date into my calendar. And this is where I review my spendings for the month, my investments, cancel any unused subscriptions. But it's a simple practice that's helped me gain clarity on where my money is going. And way too many of us have very poor financial literacy. We don't know how our pension works or how to make our money work for us. And a few years ago, I decided to learn about personal finance. And it has been life-changing for both my stress levels and my bank balance. So if this resonates with you, why not try to make 2025 the year where you prioritize your personal finances? And another key point here is health insurance. Wherever you are in the world, having solid health insurance is so essential. I say this as somebody who works in a hospital and sees how difficult it is for the people who don't have health insurance. And I know many people claim they can't afford it, and I understand. But there are a lot of cases where it's more so that it's not prioritized. And by the time it is, it's too late. And I see the consequences of this all of the time. And I just want to emphasize that I do think it's really important, no matter what age you are. Wellness habit number 6 is to stretch. Flexibility is such an underrated aspect of fitness. We always hear about cardio and lifting weights, but flexibility is just as important, especially as we age, because our mobility naturally decreases over time. If you think about it, how many older people in your life can comfortably reach overhead? And if you're not flexible, you're more at risk of falls as you get older, because you won't be able to reach your arm out to grab onto the side to catch yourself when you feel yourself falling, or at least not as quick as you could be. But the good news is that we can work to maintain and improve our flexibility. Whether you're at a desk all day long or you're hitting the gym, bringing in some stretching can reduce injury, improve your mobility, and even reduce your stress. So even just 5 minutes in the morning or in the evening can make a big difference. I'm actually planning on doing a full flexibility video soon, because it's something I actually really enjoy doing. But for now, make sure you're building some stretching into your own routine. And wellness habit number 7 is the best fulfillment habit that you can have. And that is to be kind to others. Because one thing that really grinds my ears when it comes to self-development, and I love self-development, but it's all about, especially on social media, the word self. It's all about being the healthiest version of yourself, being the most successful version of yourself, being the most attractive version of ourselves. And my issue with that is that we are social species. Yes, there is a huge importance in taking care of and prioritizing yourself, but humans thrive on connection. So for this habit, I want you to prioritize giving to others. This could be something as simple as leaving a positive comment on a friend's Instagram. Could be doing a simple good deed for someone else or volunteering to help with a charity group. But studies have shown that acts of kindness release endorphins, and these make you feel better about yourself and the world around you. And not only that, but connecting with others in this way, it builds stronger relationships and fosters a sense of community. And this is vital for our overall fulfillment and happiness. And if you think about it, how good do you feel when someone does something nice for you? You can be that source of light for someone else. Like when someone leaves a nice comment on my YouTube video, it literally makes me so happy. And it only took them 2 seconds out of their day. And it's a win-win. So let's ditch this idea that self-development is purely about the self. And let's start thinking about how we can contribute to the happiness and wellness of others too. So that's it for today's micro habits. But just remember that small habits, these are what lead to big changes over time. Pick one of these and let me know how this goes. If you enjoyed this video, you're definitely going to enjoy my video all about the 7 effective habits of people who lose weight and keep it off. I'll leave it linked here somewhere. But as always, thank you so very much for watching. Stay happy and stay healthy, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching. Stop.